Before we get into the video, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Now, I'm going to be showing you guys today how I do my drugstore foundation routine for summertime. There are two products in here that are not drugstore, but the rest is. So one of them is this primer that I'm using from Cover FX. They just came out with, and I really want to try it. It has SPF 30, which is really nice, and it also has a nice feel to it. Now, onto my foundation. This is the Milani Cream to Powder Foundation. And let me just say, I don't think I've ever told you guys on here before, but if you're not following me on Instagram, you should be, because I have done a whole spiel about this foundation. This is a dupe for the Kat Von D Good Apple Foundation. It has a similar feel, similar texture to it. It has really nice coverage. As you can see, it's covering up my hyperpigmentation just fine. And it was around $10. And for the amount of money I paid for it, I was not expecting it to perform as well as it has. And I'm really liking it. So if you're looking for a dupe for that, make sure you go check that out. Now for my concealer, I am using the Maybelline, what is this? The Instant Age Rewind. This happens to be one of my favorite concealers. It is drugstore. I use it all the time. Even in the summertime, I find it works really well. If you have oily skin, make sure you use a good setting powder on top of this to really hold it in place. But otherwise, I enjoy it. I never have any issues with it. Maybelline also has their Fit Me concealer, which you guys have seen me use a lot as well. That concealer is also really good at drugstore find. I almost feel like it is a dupe for the NARS Creamy Concealer. If you're a fan of that, I would definitely give that a try. Or if you're in a pinch, don't want to shell out another $30 for that concealer, definitely try it out. I use it all the time. These are two of my go-to concealers. As you can see, I'm almost done with this. Now, I am going to be using a new setting powder. This is a really nice setting powder from Black Radiance that I really enjoy. You guys know I usually stick to my Laura Mercier, but this one is really good. Now, to make sure that you're not setting in place any creases, this is super important. Make sure you press out your concealer first. Keep looking up so you don't create a crease, and just dab a light bit of setting powder under your eyes, over your eyelids. And then I go in and I apply extra setting powder to bake or whatever. That is just making sure that you're not setting in place any creases, because if you want your foundation look to last all day, setting a crease in place is no bueno. It's not the way to go. So you set that in place, you'll be good. Now this is my other product that is not drugstore. This is the Fenty Powder Foundation. You can use any powder foundation that's drugstore. I just didn't have one. But I use this to set all over the rest of my face. So before I apply bronzer and blush and all that stuff, I just put a light layer of this foundation all over. I'm not heavily caking it on, as you can see, and that just keeps my foundation locked in place for the rest of the day. You will transfer it a little bit, but it's fine. This is the Makeup Revolution Glow Bronzer, and I use a very little bit of this. I put a bit up near my ear, and I'm just going to continue to work with that little bit, spreading it down onto my cheek, bringing it up a little bit higher. You don't need a lot of this bronzer at all because it is very pigmented, and this tone is a bit dark for me, so I do want to make sure I use it sparingly so I don't be looking crazy out here. Now to finish off my look, I am just going to go ahead and dust off my baking powder that I used around my nose to create a contour. If you guys want to see a more in-depth video on that, please let me know and I might do one. And then I'm also going to apply a setting spray. You can use whatever setting spray you like. This one is from Milk, so my bad guys, that's 3 products. It's not drugstore. This one is from Milk Cosmetics. It's their Hydro setting spray. But any drugstore setting spray should work if you want one that's more matte, one that's more dewy. Whatever works for you. I would just say once you do set your face with a spray, make sure you go back with your sponge and pat everything in and just really cement it in there. And once I've finished everything else, I do just go back in with a touch more of setting powder in places where I know I tend to get oily. So for me, that's around my nose, on my chin, and on my forehead. Those are my problem areas. But that is it. I really like how this look turns out. That's how I do my makeup in the summertime to make sure it lasts. All products will be linked below, you guys. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.